Oh, we're Yeah, we missed last week. It's been a little bit of turmoil here, in life and just personal life, end of the year stuff, with the school year and the kids and stuff like that. So, apologies for not being on last week, but we're right back at it right now. What you just heard right now is old school detox stuff, Miranda. So this was supposed to be a project where basically it was going to be an album, 9, 10, 11 tracks of just heavenly bodies. Basically, terraform is supposed to be earth. It was going to, Miranda is a moon, and each song was going to be like a moon or a comet, or it was going to be like Ceres. There was going to be like Venus, or like a different name for Venus, but it was all going to be like heavenly bodies and all trance related, because detox is the trance moniker. But since a long time, detox has been retired. But interesting fact, the vocals on this track is from an old use stream back like in 2014. Deadmau5 was doing Ustream with Sophie, and it was something along the lines of like, I think he says something like, the first thing I did was hook up the TV and the PlayStation or something. It's like that's Miranda. I just thought it kind of like screw it. I'm just gonna put vocals in. What are they gonna do? This thing's going nowhere. Nobody cares. They're not going to notice. And if they did, what are they going to do about it? Who cares? So anyways, yeah. Today's show is going to be, what the title says is unleashing, the VST. The VST is finally pretty operational. It's very ugly. The engine's still very raw, but it's powerful. It does what I want it to do. However, it's not contained, so it's a wild sound that comes out of it. The engine's very powerful. It's almost too powerful. It's almost like we have to contain it so that the thing doesn't, it doesn't clip, but it'll distort so hard, so easily if you turn everything off. The good thing that the synth has done is I've been able to, with the help of ChatGPT, because ChatGPT is a retard, I feel like I've made a really good relationship with my large language model, and we have this fake little therapist relationship. That's what other people have been doing with ChatGPT, is like trying to tell them their feelings and all that junk. I don't do all that, but we have this working style that kind of works, where I call it out on its bullshit. I said, before you said this, and me with no code experience but 100% sound experience and synthesized experience, been able to call it on its bullshit. I'm like, you said this before, and if using logic and stuff, if you're pulling it down by this amount of math, isn't it going to contort this other portion over here? And it's like, you know what, you're right, you're absolutely right. And that's been our relationship for the past month. I didn't think this thing was going to last this long. I thought AI was going to make things faster, but apparently, this thing, I can imagine people doing this without AI, like Steve Duda doing Serum and all that stuff before AI. This stuff sucks, dude. Well, it doesn't suck. It's really fun, but it's like, you think you're going somewhere, you don't realize how many hills you have to go over. If anybody's been to like Blue Ridge Mountains or Appalachia, in that area, and you get to like a nice big summit in West Virginia or North Carolina, and then you look out and you see all the blue mountains, you see all the purple, and you see hills. They look like hills, but they're actually mountains, but it just endlessly goes on. those are all the problems you have. And it's like, you feel like you got to a summit, and then there's like all these other mini summits. It's like, all right, now we gotta make sure the gain staging's okay. Now we gotta make sure all this other stuff's okay. So I mean, it's gotten to a point where it's good enough to be able to possibly package for a small group of people, and that's what we're doing right now. We're trusting it with I got 2 people on TikTok that are randos that I haven't met yet, and we're going to let them take a stab at it. I got a couple of people that I'm going to contact and see if they're willing to take a stab at it as well, that I personally know. And I think the ultimate pre-alpha test is going to be about like 5 to 10 people. I got a sheet, and maybe if you're watching this and you reach out to me, I might give it to 1 or 2 people who reach out to me via this video. If you reach out to me, I'll probably grab you. If I get like 500 requests, which I'm not gonna get, I'm just only gonna limit to like 1 or 2 people, because it's gonna be a small group of people that I know are going to reply back to me, are gonna say, these are the things I do not like about it. And after that, then we're pretty much building the real alpha that's going to go out to probably about like, hopefully about like 100 people. And then again, once that's done, scale out to a full version beta, and eventually commercial release. So it's extremely raw still. It's an extremely raw synth. And again, I'm going to show it a little bit later in the show, and play it and show some of the we don't have a patch bank in it, so I'm packaging up for this release a Ableton live session with the parameters already set up as MIDI tracks to be able to be the patch bank, and that way test them and then make your own BS if you want to. But yeah, so beyond that, there's also 3 YouTube videos I want to get to, because I am the Asmongold of EDM. I put Ask Me Anything because I just tend to put that because hopefully, let's see what's going on. Anybody fucking joins on, and sees like, hey, I want to talk to you, I want to ask you questions or anything like that, so you're more than welcome to. But anyways, what do we got here? I added something here, and this kind of intrigued me. So I started adding our subpatch stuff into this Audioplay Releases group, and Minsky kind of threw me off because Minsky has 201 monthly listeners. It sounds like Minsky needs to drop another track, a good one. That's really cool. I thought that was really interesting. So Minsky's doing one heck of a job here with sequence. Sequence is basically the word sequence in German. That's really wild that track is very popular. In fact, we are probably going to go to break right now, and I'm going to play that track. So Subpatch, our sub-label, funny enough that the synth is project name Subpatch 1. And it was mainly named that because ChatGPT had other conversations about the artwork and stuff like that I had made with it before. And excuse me. It basically just took it upon itself to name it that, and I was like, whatever, bro. Matrix called like Project Ice Cream at one point or something like that. All these things, they have project names, but yeah. So, anyways, and I think I'm only gonna play Subpatch stuff tonight, exiting out of this. So every time we go to break, we'll do some Subpatch stuff, and we'll do more Subpatch stuff, throughout the further episodes, which is kind of cool because I want to also demo the sample and hold that I have on the VST, which is pretty freaking awesome. I'm very satisfied with the engine. the Juice architecture is interesting. I was wondering whether or not I was gonna sound like gimmicky because everybody else is using the Juice architecture, but in reality, it's all about your parameters and what you're doing with it. It's a synth that sounds like nothing else I've dealt with, but also like everything else I've dealt with. So the whole entire point is to get you fast to that point of progressive house, melodic house and techno, and um, modular experimental stuff. So if you like Eric Prydz and you like Deadmau5, immediately what it's trying to do is get you right in front of that type of stuff. You're not gonna have to be meddling with a Serum preset and just being like, well, I know where to go, but I gotta set up all this stuff. No, immediately it's gonna be boom right there. And the cool thing is that every knob does something. It's not like each knob is gonna be like, oh, well, I have something going on, so this is not gonna work. No, all of them just do some crazy stuff all the time. But anyways, let's go back on break, and this is Minsky Sequence, as I didn't even know it was this popular. So here it is. Here's Sequence, and we'll be right back. I feel like that is a little too loud coming in. And the only reason is because we were doing a Destiny stream last week, and I jacked up the volume. So when I switch over, it's like boom, it's all redlining and stuff, so it probably sounds like crap. I'm so sorry if it does sound like crap. Well, I guess we'll play it back and find out. But anyways, first things first, coming back, yeah, Minsky, 201 monthly listeners. This is very impressive. I'm very surprised by this. I'm very happy. We're gonna be playing probably Hard Light and all of these. Cold Salad. Cold Salad came in with Sequins. It's a side A, side B, and Sky is a remix from Add to Cart. Where's Add to Cart? Down here. Add to Cart is the funniest thing. That's my wife. Because all she does is Amazon Add to Cart. So I go, your perfect like producer name would be Add to Cart, because that's all she does is Add to Cart. So I helped her on this track, and you know, I did a remix with Minsky on it. So it was really cool. Anyways, with all that said, the reason why we are here, some YouTube videos. One of the things I wanted to point out is we're skipping Looted today. Looted has been 2 or 3 weeks, has not responded to my emails. So I think at this point I have 2 options: move on, or let's continue pressing this further. And after watching the Lego debacle with Reckless Ben, I think I want to continue to push it. Not in the same way he does, but I would like to reach out to this guy, at least get a hello, you know, and be like, you know, what's going on, dude, and do a little bit of journalism, you know, in this sense, like music journalism, you know, and be like, what happened? Like, I'm interested. Where did you go? And leave it at that, you know. And if he wants to ever come on, and we'll do like a little quick live 10-minute, like, hey, how you doing, on a Zoom call or whatever, that'd be great. Beyond that, but I'm giving Looted a break, and I'm going to be resuming that this week to try to pinpoint what's going on. If it leads down a dead end, it leads down a dead end, and we can't find them, and it is what it is. But you know, your page, very cool, and has garnered me personally some of the top views of this channel, the small little channel that I have. You know, I'm not flexing 20,000 subscribers here, you know, but I put out a short and it gets 4,000 views, and I'm like, whoa, that doesn't normally happen to me, and it's because of you. So thank you, Looted, for your content. It was really cool. You were really well done, especially at the time you did it, you know. But anyways, this is one of the videos that I want to do. I don't know if I want to do this one first, but since it's already on the screen, we might as well. And I thought the very beginning of this is Zigzag Production Studios. I don't know, this might not be their original thing. It could be, but it's deadmau5 and Steve Duda, you know. And I'm gonna skip around, but one of the main things that happens right in the beginning is what deadmau5 says. So.
I've seen over the years you use like all different types of master compression. So I think it's worth mentioning here that you don't do this on every song, right? This isn't like...
No, there's no such thing as a magical master chain. It's gonna make everything sound way, way more fatter and better. It's a lot of experimentation with, you know, different types of things, but the principle stays the same. Is that at the end of your chain, you're definitely gonna want a limiter that's gonna give you a ceiling of, you know, I don't know why it's actually, it could be 0, but it's actually 0.3.
So exactly what he's saying right there. There's no magical master chain. You know, I made a chain for 102, and I started realizing, like, what am I doing here? Because I had the things that I wanted in it on a track, and it made the track sound great. And then as soon as like I made another track, I was like, let me just drop the 102 master chain that I created. And I realized that's not going to work. It made it really hollow, very high, and it depends on what you're using. So it's very much, it's weird. It's weird to think of like you want to put these things into templates and make processes and stuff like that, and at the end of the day it's not very much like that. It's very much more like painting. So it's like, oh, you're oil painting, so how much linseed oil did you put into the oil to make it soft, you know, to make it glide across the canvas better? And maybe that batch of blue that you normally buy was a little bit darker than usual, so it's like you have to adjust on the fly with your mastering and with your mixing, especially your mixing.
For reasons unbeknownst to me.
Could talk about
Every track's different, is what I'm trying to say.
But yeah,
Thanks,
can get technical reasons. You might not want to go to zero, but the fact of the matter ultimately is you're basically controlling dynamics more than like overall like EQ stuff. It looks like with your plugin chain here, because you have the limiting going on. The OTT is doing this compression, downwards and upwards compression.
Right.
So you're really kind of putting all of the sounds. What I notice is sort of a result of this is,
I see Steve trying to argue with him, and he's like, yeah, you have all these things, like, give me the math behind it, what are you trying to do here? And Demos is like, I do whatever I want, you know?
Is for one,
it depends on the situation.
Quieter stuff to be heard a little bit more, right?
And Steve knows this, but he wants to get more out of it because this is an Alienware thing. You get me? They're trying to promote Alienware. This is an old video,
right? Because as you know, a compressor is reducing the dynamic range, so louder stuff and quieter stuff become kind of closer together in volume. So it allows that quieter stuff not to get so lost. And then the other thing it's doing is it's catching stray peaks and that sort of thing, so you get an overall louder mix out. So your mix isn't going to sound too wimpy versus others. But the OTT does have sort of a tone quality to it too, although I see you're leaving it pretty flat, so it's pretty much just giving you a constant balance of certain amount of lows, certain amount of mids, and certain amount of highs.
Yeah, one other thing I do before I tend to go to all these you know, limiters and compressors and any dynamics modifier on my master chain is it's actually disabled here for.
Sorry to interrupt.
Oh,
this is important.
Shoot!
The shooter who murdered my sweet little Daniel.
Oh my goodness, get out of here!
Laziness reasons, but
I'm very sorry.
I tend to cut below 20
God,
hertz.
That was a little bit
just because
jarring.
You know, you're not going to hear it. It's not sub. And some synths, or some soft synths especially, actually any digital anything, is more prone to putting out sub frequency that actually does affect dynamics down the chains, even though you don't hear it. You know, these speakers, I think the lowest they'll go is like 30. You know. With sub.
You can't hear anything after that.
Like, they're probably really rolling off down there. They could probably put out 20, but in a weak way.
You can't. I mean, what's the point after that? So.
But yeah, your ears don't hear below 20.
Your ears won't hear it, and I wouldn't dare crank these loud enough to even attempt to feel that. But on major, huge PAs and stuff like that, that stuff really counts because they really do drive those, and those big, you know, club stacks or concert stacks really add up and put out those kind of frequencies. In order to get a little more loudness out of everything, your low, your low mid, your mid, and your high and stuff like that, rolling off, you know, anything or completely cutting off with a plugin. Actually, I recommend called Engineer's Filter. You can just Google that; it's free.
Let's see it. Engineer's Filter from KVR. Engineer's Filter. That's what's up. Yeah, we're gonna grab this.
Stuff like that you can use to, you know, just totally strip out anything below 20 hertz, just due to the fact that you're not going to get any of those weird magical spikes that are sub 20 hertz that are going to affect your dynamics later down the chain. So that's actually the first thing I put on my master chain is just, you know, just drop everything below 20 hertz.
Right. So
you won't hear it when
so
you're testing it. So don't be like, oh, it's not doing anything. It is.
Right. On a good system, you'd hear it. So it's giving you a little more headroom, and it's making you avoid the potentially problematic rumble
and stuff like that. But
yeah, I don't think there's much like content that we care about below 30 hertz. Although, you know, it really starts going into like the feeling it kind of realm. So, you know, I always felt like I couldn't really care about 20 hertz until I was on a stage with a big PA. I think it might have been yours, where I started to realize, wow, even these you know, even these vibrations that are kind of below, you can hear. You still feel them. So
yeah.
there's something cool about it. But especially if you're in headphones or in a small like apartment or whatever bedroom with smaller speakers, you don't even know what's going on down there. So you're probably better safe than sorry to just like Joel says,
actually
bypass it.
take a look. Let's see what happens if we go under the hood here. I'll just use some EQ. So this is before anything on my master, and if you look here, yeah, see, look at that activity.
Yeah, you can zoom that. Yep.
Yeah, we don't need you. We don't need you. So yeah, 30 hertz. It's up there, you know. And then what I would, I guess.
Could do a 48 dB high pass, right?
And look what he's using here. Serum. That's where you have that wow, whoop. But he cuts all that out so he can get that whoop. So if we want to go back just a tad,
I would 30 hertz. So yeah.
Build up of this.
30 hertz. It's up there, you know. And then what I would, I guess.
Could do a 48 dB high pass, right?
Right. Yeah. Did they change that so you can? So that's a bit of a roll off. I mean, that's not gonna cut. That's why I prefer the engineer's filter, because it's a straight cut. But roll off won't hurt too if you don't have an EQ that's gonna cut that out. I mean, I even at, you know, starting the roll off at 37 hertz, I can't hear the difference at all. But it's there.
Yeah, touch less rumble maybe, and that's just because we have huge speakers, so we can perceive the difference. But on headphones, you probably wouldn't hear any difference.
No.
There.
Right.
And so that's,
no, you don't
that's
hear
great.
anything here.
So yeah, so you also do, so besides the master channel here, which you've been talking about, you also do some busing beforehand, right? To get all your stuff to the master. You tend to kind of group things together.
Yeah, a lot of stuff I can get away with. So I think I have a kick channel in here somewhere. That's a whole hats group.
And his thing looks so simple there, and that's kind of what I do too. You know, I've seen people with such complex session views where they have groups and buses all over the place, and it's like, I mean, I'm looking at this. He has what, like 30 tracks?
Well, I did at one point.
Okay, so like
More than me.
you'll have a sort of a bus for your
Yeah,
kick or kicks, right? It
Yeah,
might be-
right. So if my kick here, I can see it's going to D bus, right? So if we go just take a look at D bus and solo that, see what's on there. Yeah, it's all my drums. And then I think I'm even, yeah,
Drum
okay,
bus.
so D bus is routing to my master, so I know that that's going to be probably, you know, one of the loudest parts of, you know, the song. So I'm not really doing anything crazy magical to it. I just use some cheesy old Vengeance kicks here and layering them up, tuning them a bit, you know. Nothing wrong with using D-Walt. But it's the little nuances that I find make the difference too. It's even though you can use some stock samples like, you know, the Vengeance stuff.
Right.
It's all rage. It's little cool things that you can actually do, you know, to make a difference. It's say what is this automation here? It's the gain and yes. So here I actually shift the transpose.
Transpose. How many semitones?
It takes 90 seconds for this NASA-engineered AC cool down your room. It's smaller than a toaster, cools any room in 90 seconds, and uses just a fraction
that
of
in
the
my car, I
energy
guess.
of
I
a
don't know.
regular.
On my PC.
That little
Right.
piece of tail.
So you made your own effect
So
symbol, basically.
yeah, I made my own cool little symbol thing. And you know, you're not going to get that off the CD, but you got the sample and you got, you know, your little tool to work with. So it's just, you know, little fun tricks like that to keep yourself from falling asleep while you're making EDM, which is, you know, pretty easy to do. You know, things like little like fade-in shakers. And that's our serum again somewhere.
Yeah, I know there's some strings that come in as a nice layer at some point. I don't know if we went over those.
Yeah, that's more music-y stuff. Like, so here I'm using the Vienna Versing Cube. It's just another component to add to our ARP here. So here's Serum, kind of being some main synth here.
Serum, you say?
Yes, Serum, available on xforrecords.com/products/Serum. I got it right this time. It's just such a great synth. It's honestly like one of my go-tos for, the dead mouse pluck. Well, the dead mouse pluck essentially is, just kind of copy this and duplicate it like a cheap jerk and go to external or instrument, right? So the way we have this
audio effects.
Right. The way we have this setup wired up is I've installed a Moog MIDI out guy, so I can actually take MIDI out to Slim Fatty, which is just a MIDI device. It could be your MIDI out. I can say audio input from 1, which is my. You can see it in the corner there. It's that big mod can. He's already patched up and ready to go. So that's actually.
And there's your synth right there. That's what I've been doing with the Crave. But I moved over here to the other side. It's no
Right,
longer
so you're
behind
adding
me.
the same MIDI that you're using for Serum. Now you're also layering your external synthesizer that's feeding back into the Apollo.
So now the joys of analog. I have to walk all the way over here, use my hands, and turn knobs. This is why I need to be in a band, though, because someone also has to record this at the same time.
Oh,
so if we pull that
there's nothing like that sound. That just. But then again, that's a Moog filter.
down, conveniently enough, as I do.
Wait, no, Mendita. That wasn't a Moog filter. He's fucking around with his modular. But Moog's filters are incredible.
Duplicated the track, it copied the EQ settings, which I might not want, a little more low end there, take that ridiculous delay off. Now it's just pure analog, straight in, the exception of that gain, and it's going to the same synth bus. So now if I also layer that with Serum, you're hearing both now.
Well, he has the
Now,
analog
of
way
course,
down.
it doesn't have to be a, 400 module mod can synth. It could be any little synth. It could be a, a little Slim Fatty, Mother 32, any synth really.
So in both cases, though, both with Serum and with your modular, you're basically using a sawtooth and then a filter, like a low pass.
Anywho, this was pretty fun.
And then the same thing.
Load up Serum. It's really just a matter of enabling a filter and assigning an envelope to.
That's pretty fun. It's an interesting video. It's really cool. It's an old video. It's been around for forever, but I always thought this was an interesting video. Let's take another quick break. I got 2 more videos, and then I'm going to reveal what's going on with the synth, and then we call it a night. But let's go with Hard Light right here. Let's just go right down the thing. We're gonna skip Nicked, and because that's on an Audioplay track, that we've played before many times, and we're gonna go with Hard Light, and yeah. So we'll be right back. That's like good shit. Real good shit. Minsky Hard Light. I don't think we added anything to that. I think it was just a single, just like that. But so let's queue up our next one. Here's our next couple of videos, and these I actually kind of found these just recently today. And where the fuck is it? I just had the damn video there. Oh shoot, never mind. There it is. So it's two videos from this guy named Minosaur. They're quick, and this first one is dull, but it makes you lethal at finishing tracks. And then 3 habits of prolific producers. I have a thing, and I've noticed that a lot of these gurus that are trying to show you YouTube videos, you need to understand this, and this is the reason why I don't pump out YouTube videos, and I should probably put some YouTube videos out to give you the real thing, because this is not clickbait. It makes you want to watch it, so I understand what he's doing. He has a small following. He has a lot of followers. He has like 17K followers. I would love to have that. And he has 16K views on something that 7 days ago and 11 hours ago looked 5.6K views. He's doing great, you know. It's very nice videos that he's putting together, and he's an expert in production. But the thing is that everybody is different. And again, going back to that analogy of painting and the linseed oil and the oil paints and the type of paints that you get, you might get a lot, you know, of blue that might be darker than the last blue, and you'll notice it because you've been an artist for such a long time. You're like, this blue is a little bit different today, and then you buy that blue again and it's a little bit different the next time, you know. So that's the thing. A lot of young people, and right now the young people making music is Gen Z. Gen Alpha is still very, very super young, 13 years old, you know. They might be getting into it now and learning from Gen Z and learning from millennials. And I'm gonna have to admit that millennials probably are one of the worst artistic groups ever. You know, boomers had incredible music. Gen X had incredible music. Millennials, the thing goes like this, and I'm a millennial. And then Gen Z's been pumping out some crazy stuff, but I think Gen Z's been pumping it up because they're just wild. They have no direction. They weren't raised correctly by Gen X, but that's a whole philosophical conversation for another day, and I'm not going to get into it. But this man looks like he's a millennial. He looks about my age, and he's giving this advice. And I'm not saying because of his generational whatever it is, but I think people need to understand where people are at, and this is probably delivered for young producers who are starting up, people in that age range that maybe do not have that much content, or I mean that much knowledge, and are looking at things in here that are content to try to get a little bit of an up. See, YouTube 10-15 years ago was just a bunch of stupid videos, and for me to find there was very rare that I would find instructional videos for massive Native Instruments, massive, to get patches, to copy patches of, like, I want to sound like Spencer and Hill, I want to make a Dead Mouse pluck, you know, like he was just explaining in the last video. Very few videos like that, and now they're everywhere. Now you have so many people giving advice, it's like. And the main thing that I want to preface this with is everybody is different. Nobody, not even this guy's videos, and this is a good video, these two videos are good, but nobody is going to...
It's too simple to be
able to tell you this is the end-all and fix-all of everything. This is his fix-all. This worked for him. It might not work for you. But there's a lot of good information to grab from it and take what you want and make your own Frankenstein version of who you are.
If you think it's the flashy stuff that finishes tracks, you're wrong. It's taken me 20 years of producing to realise that it's the boring stuff that helps you do less and finish more. So today I'm going to show you 3 dull moves that will make you lethal at finishing tracks. So
And I'm going to give you 3 opinions after those.
a few weeks ago I made a video about using field recordings in your music, and someone left this comment, and it inspired me to make this video, because what they were really saying is, I came here expecting a hack, a cheat code, and what you gave me sounds too simple to be the answer. That's the trap. Us producers are addicted to the next dopamine fix.
I agree with that. And I was stuck in that a few years back, where I was like, dude, I have the knowledge, the wherewithal. And I started this like in 2003. I didn't start like EDM until like 2004 or 5, but like I was doing other stuff in 2003, maybe even 2. But you get, even just about 5 years during COVID, I was sitting there going like, I have the knowledge, I know how to make tracks, I know what I'm doing, I just need that little extra something. So I was chasing plugins. And you shouldn't be chasing plugins. You could make a butt clap. You don't need to be chasing the perfect clap. You literally just microphone your own clap, like that right there. Sample it. If you're watching this, sample that and put it in your track.
Plugin or tip or trick, but the things that actually get tracks finished don't trigger the dopamine. It's the unsexy bits, the dull stuff between the exciting moments. It's where the finishing actually happens. So the first dull move is a ritual nobody really talks about, and whenever I forget to do it, nothing in the studio clicks and my music sounds like a limp handshake. Most producers reference their track against other pro tracks at the end or somewhere in the middle.
Not only do I reference my own tracks, but I also lay down tracks in the session view to try to see like, what are they doing? You know, where's the bridge? Where's the chorus? Where's this? Where's that? To try to get an idea of like, if I'm going to be making this style of track, here's a popular one that I really like, or not even a popular one. This is one that I really want to sound like. How did they structure it too? So look at structure too. Don't copy a structure, but like look at structure too. Not only just reference the sound to see if your mix is near that, but also look at the structure. See where the intro is, see where the breakdowns are and stuff, and you might get some insight.
Use reference
finishing your track. That actually helps build the skeleton out. Shoot, you could put a reference track down in a session view and be like, that's a good 5.5, 6 minutes. I'm just gonna copy where all the kicks are and all the hats and all the claps. And then afterwards, I'm gonna go in and do my painting of things, and then go and construct the perks afterwards. That helps speed up the process and actually gets you to a finished product already, because you have the layout already of it.
Tracks as a quality check to see if we're in the right ballpark or if our mix stacks up against commercial releases. And I do that a lot, but that's not what I'm talking about here. If you go to the gym, you warm up first. A singer warms up their voice before a performance. You should hear my funny voice warm-ups to prepare my voice for filming this video. And your ears are no different. The first 5 or 10 minutes of any session, you haven't tuned in to what good sounds like. If I just dive in and start making decisions cold, I choose weak sounds, I set levels wrong, I add too much reverb, and then later I have to undo all those bad decisions. So at the start of every session, before I open the door, I warm up. I'll play 2 or 3 tracks, usually in the genre I'm working in, and just skip around, only for a few seconds here and there. I'm not listening to them or analysing them. I don't want to be influenced by them creatively. I'm calibrating my ears. I'm reminding myself what good sounds like at the volume I'm about to work at. It's not exciting.
That's pretty interesting, and I think he has a point there. I don't want to sound like an artist here and say like that doesn't matter to me, because it kind of doesn't, but I could get that. I get that. You know, I had this problem once where like I went through a big Green Day phase when I was in my early 20s, and I found out that if I listened to too much Green Day throughout the day on my iPods at work, I'd come home and try to make tracks, and I couldn't make tracks. I'd be thinking in Green Day, and I couldn't make EDM. So what he's saying is true. Calibrate your ears, but it gets to a certain point where you're old like me, and it doesn't matter. yeah, you love music, but you end up going like, I don't really care. It's all the same, and you just get on there and you do your thing because you have so much experience doing it. But he's right. You know, sometimes you need to get your ears correctly calibrated in certain situations, and sometimes if you're working on a track and that's all you're doing is like you're only thinking about that track, and maybe you go during the day to work and then you come back, your ears are kind of already pre-primed for it, so you might not even need to do too much of this calibration. You just need to go back into the session and play the track for like 2 seconds and be like, where was I? Cool, I understand it now.
Or flashy routine, but it changes the entire session. So referencing isn't just for mixing. Warm up before you start to calibrate your ears and you'll make better decisions. Okay, now on to the second dull move. This is the one I had to learn the hard way, and it has bought me back the most time to make music. It makes sense that being more organized helps you finish more tracks, so I tried all of it, tracking my projects in Trello, Notion, Macid, spreadsheets, and every time after a while I noticed I would stop using them because I was typing in boxes about a track that wasn't finished when I could have been finishing the track. Because us humans are experts at procrastination. If you want to avoid a difficult task, suddenly your studio needs tidying, or your sample folder needs organizing, or all your plugin presets need renaming.
So, okay, if you're gonna go to work and have a boss that is cool, or do you want one that's like hovering over you, micromanaging you? Which one do you like? You're micromanaging yourself here. Like, you're doing like triple the work. Don't do that.
So when using these productivity workflows outside the door,
be organized, but don't track your junk like that. Like that's a little it's a little psychotic.
It's the perfect excuse to avoid.
At the end of the day, music is art, you know, and it's like I hate to do it because a lot of people try to act so cool these days because you want a brand, you want to like you want to promote yourself as like this cool guy who just happens to be a savant at music and makes cool bleeps and bloops. But in reality, it's like go back to like the Middle Ages where people were like really artsy, you know, like this expresses my emotions, and that's really what it is at the end of the day. People are just trying to be like too hard about it, like, yeah, I made that, I'm like Kanye, I'm cool. But in reality, what you're doing is like recently I've been going under a lot of stress in personal life, and I don't sing, but I've thought about writing lyrics and maybe singing and really stepping and processing on my voice and making like an actual vocal track with me. And I'm like, well, what lyrics would I make? And it's like, you know, you start getting these ideas like, when will it end? You know, like, when will this stress end? I'm thinking to myself, when will this stress end? When will this stress end? When is this going to be over? When is this going to be over? And I'm like, these sound like lyrics. These sound like pop lyrics, you know? And it's like, just go where it takes you. You don't have to sit here and make spreadsheets about how close you are to finishing. Just stick to it and finish. There's too many people with ADHD these days, and I think it's because of these things. You know, learn to cope without these things.
The hard work. It's admin theatre. You're doing easy tasks, tricking your brain that you're being productive instead of actually doing the hard graft of finishing tracks and putting in the reps. Because the boring admin is dull but easy. Making the music, powering through an idea you're stuck on, or pushing a track that's 95% done over the finish line. That's properly dull and properly hard. Now, if you found an admin system that genuinely helps you finish more music, good for you. But for me, all these tools sat outside the music. I'd waste half a session on admin instead of actually work.
I say stay away from the administrative systems and the spreadsheets and stuff, and just hunker down and don't work on anything. Don't chase shiny objects. Just stick to that one. Don't make a new track. Don't make a new session and be like, I just want to start from scratch and play around with noises. That's all cool and stuff, but like, stay within the session. Stay within the session and do your experiments in the session. Make new tracks on the bottom and be like, solo everything off, and just have, boop, 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 boop. Does that fit in this one? No, fuck it. If it doesn't, make it off to the side We're gonna use it for another thing. Stay on your session. Stay in your session until you finish a track.
Working on the track. So I cut it down to the absolute minimum, a to-do list in a notepad. That's it. So the test is an easy one.
That's another thing
Is
that
your
works for
admin
him.
helping you finish more tracks? If yes, brilliant. If you're not sure or it's slowing you down, it's admin theatre. So that's your second dull move. Get rid of all the admin that is not actually helping you finish tracks. Next, the third dull
Very
move
true.
is the opposite of what most producers do, and it's improved my tracks in ways I didn't expect. Music production templates are the ultimate productivity hack. You can't open Reddit without someone explaining their complex starting templates. Dozens of preloaded channels, instruments ready for every scenario, 12 buses, 8 return tracks, long reverb, long delay, short delay. Here is one of those templates. It took me a while to make this one and tweak it and refine it, and it's not even that complicated. It's just a load of different tracks.
And this is great. This is great. Make a big template. Shoot, man, I'm gonna make this longer than it should be. After this video, I think I'm gonna skip the last video, and I'm not even gonna play the last video because I want to show the VST, and we're running out of time here. What we got? We're way over. And then I'm gonna take a break and then do the VST, and then we're gonna sign off. I'll say this about this. In theory, these templates look great, but I think what you need to do is more of a loose template. And the reason I say this is I, over 20 plus years of producing EDM, I love different types of it. I love, tech house. I love minimal. I love trance. I love, back in the day, electro house was huge. Now today it's progressive, melodic, all that stuff. And it's like, well, you can't go under one name and make all these things. This is why you branch off and you make these other different names. Tiesto did it a long time ago with Stray Dog and Kamaya Painter, and of course is the main one, Tiesto. And it's like, the difference is that he did them all with the same idea. He did them all trance music. But like, for example, I got Detox, I kind of retired. That was my trance moniker. And I've actually started thinking about reviving trance. But I'm not going to use Detox. That's dead. That name's dead. But I got this idea from just a couple of songs to make 102 Eggs, which is like progressive stuff but hard. But I still love my bleeps and bloops, and I'm like, I'm going to not do that with this brand. I'm going to make another name. And I just started the same way that you see this guy doing buses here. And he's saying don't use these templates, because he's absolutely telling you do not do this. So I'm not trying to say that he's telling you to do this. He's saying not to do this, because each track is different. It's just like a painting. Each painting is different. So I did that with different monikers and different names, different pseudonyms, different nicknames and stuff like that. I said I'm going to put all my trance things here. I'm going to put all my techno things here. I'm going to put all my sample and hold, weird modular sounding kind of minimal stuff here. And that's what I've made like 6, 7, 8, 9 different personas that do different things. So if the mood strikes for whatever the fuck reason, and I just noticed right now, like I just saw that on Spotify, that Minsky's actually very popular, and I'm like sitting here digging my brain out with 102 Eggs trying to make progressive stuff, and I see Minsky's actually fucking doing a great job, and I'm like, well, I'm gonna give the world some more Minsky now. Like, this just happened right now live on the stream. I just saw this, and I think when it comes to a session, when you're doing your session here in whatever DAW you're using, you have to understand, and this is why most of the time I start from almost a blank DAW. Pretty much, I always start from a blank DAW, a blank session. I just start new session. I'm gonna make a new track, very brand new. I don't mind making all these things because I know my DAW. I know all my shortcuts. I can make what he has here in 10-15 minutes. I can make it. So what's the point? of making a template. A template will restrict you. Sometimes you want to do something, sometimes you have to sit there and you're like, but I gotta put the thing in here and I gotta make sure it's in this group and that group. Don't fucking worry about the group. You can create the group. At least with Ableton, it's very flexible that all you gotta do is a couple of keystrokes and boom, you have groups, you have buses, you have all these things. So I think stay away from templates, but stick to ideas. Stick to big picture ideas. So if you really love trance music but you also like doing dubstep, just separate the two. It's kind of like a trading account when you're doing stocks. You know, you want your long-term account where you're going to have your stocks that you're going to hold for a long time, your Apples, your Coca-Colas, your whatever. And then you're going to do your risky bullshit with your trading, like where you're going to do options and you're going to just go 100% your entire portfolio into, I don't know, Ryotech, you know, robotics, and just hope that that option hits, but it's not going to affect your long term. So you have these two separate ideas. You have your progressive stuff that you like, and then you have your hard techno. You know, you're going to separate the two. And I'm going to keep on playing it. He's going to say the same thing.
With different instruments.
Stay away from these templates, you know, stay away from, you create these things, but keep to your sound. You know, with 102, there's two philosophies with 102. 102 eggs is, I want ARPs. I want 16th ARPs. Doesn't matter if it's the bass line, doesn't matter if it's the top, but somewhere there needs to be 16 ARPs, because that drives this notion of who 102 is da, 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 da. It doesn't matter how it is, it's going to happen. The other thing is interesting sounds. So you could listen to like Acolyte, you could listen to 36, and these tracks have these interesting signature sounds for the track, but there's always going to be in the background, you know, and it's always going to be around the same BPM, between 126 to 132. It's going to be in that progressive range. It's not going to be quite trance, it's not going to be quite anything else. It's going to be right in there. So I mean, I say separate by branding and by choice, but not using templates. Templates are not going to try to get you, and if you're trying to make a sound and make a brand, templates are not it.
It's loaded. But as I used this template to make music, I noticed that something was off. Every track started to feel samey because every decision had already been made for me. If I wanted a different bass synth than the one I preloaded, I had to delete it and load a new one, so it hadn't even saved that much time. Instead of speeding me up, the template was locking me in. So I scrapped it and started again. This is the template I use now. It's so dull that it will send you to sleep. I've got a drum rack with kick and snare layers set up because setting up stacks like this does take a bit of time. And then I've got a group with sidechain routing already wired up because it saves me routing everything. Once I switched to the dull template, I started finishing more tracks and more interesting tracks because it keeps me free and spontaneous. I haven't got all that.
Absolutely, you have more room. You're not confused. You're not sitting there bombarded by all these things you got to fill in. You got this really plain thing, and all of a sudden you have this kick coming in, and it's like very pure, so like you get inspiration from it. It's, don't confuse yourself, just fucking do it simple. If anything, get really good at your DAW and start things from scratch. Have your presets, have your synth presets, have your kick presets, have everything ready to go, have your go-to audio effects and everything like that, your Valhalla, your Serum, or whatever you're going to go to. Have everything ready. Start from scratch, though. And just quickly go and build it. takes 2 seconds.
Clutter and baggage to deal with. Now, maybe you agree, or maybe you like stacked templates. Let me know about yours in the comments. But this dull move was definitely a weight off my shoulders. So if you've got a big template you've been using for a while, it's time for a template audit. When you use it, make a note of the things you rarely use and elements you could ditch. Then remove that.
Or just ditch the whole thing completely and just be avant-garde with it. Just fucking make music. Just fucking do it. Just do whatever you want. There's no rules. There's no rules. We live on a rock. We're a bunch of fucking water monkeys. A bunch of aqua monkeys. Right? We're 80% water. We're primates. Living on a rock, on a little speck rock, floating through space, going millions of miles an hour around the sun, just fucking flying. Who cares? Do whatever you want. Don't make a template. Do whatever you want. Make whatever music
stuff
you want.
and resave as a new version. You'll end up with a template that's more streamlined and feels more airy and spacious and creative to use. As you can see here, I made quite a few template iterations by going through that exact process. And for special occasions, the best template of all is no template, just an empty project. So let's recap the 3 dull moves that actually finish tracks. Warm up your ears before you start. Bin your productivity admin and use a dull.
I say just listen to your old tracks or just listen to stuff that you want, that you like and you want to make.
Template that gets out of your way. And if you're left asking, is that it? Yes. The producers who finish tracks have made peace with the fact that the hard work is unsexy. That's the cheat code nobody wants to hear. Now, if you're tired of starting tracks and not finishing them, and you want the full system that takes any loop and turns it into a finished track, that's my loop to track workout. It's streamlined.
I think we get the idea. I'm going to take a quick break. We're going to go with Cold Salad. Actually, no. We're going to go down the line. We're going to go with Sky. The Add to Cart Sky Minsky remix. We're going to be right back. And it's going to be a quick flash of the VST, and then we're out because we're way over. It's supposed to be an hour-long radio show, and we're at an hour 15, so we'll be right back. And we're going to do a quick flash of the current status of Set Patch 1. So, be right back. shit, right? No. Siri bot out here just catching these guys. Just freaking catching these guys. Anyways. Way past where we need to be. Way past. So this is kind of like really over time. And really what I want to do is show you guys subpatch 1. So we're gonna go onto this project, and we don't have a patch bank yet. We don't have, what is it called, AVPTS, something like that, APVTS. We don't have that coded into the synth yet, you know, where we have like a drop down, you can just go in presets, like here we go, let's go and click these. So the way we've been saving them is through Ableton sessions. So the pre-alpha, the people who are going to be testing it, the small 5 to 10 group people, I'm going to have a live session. I'll be like, the only way that you could really test this out is through live. So unfortunately, this is only going to be with people who have Ableton Live and have Windows, because we don't have a Mac version of this, and are going to hit me back up with what their thoughts are. If that's you, hit me up. Again, from the Ableton Audioplay Live family. If you are interested, hit me up. I'm probably going to give it to 1 or 2 people off of the YouTube. I already have 2 people already ready for it. They're waiting for it. I want to do 5 to 10. And we have a survey. We have a README in it. We have this whole entire thing. But let me go here. Some really crappy what we got is a legato here. What is this? Techno stab. Here's one of them. Techno stab 2, which has a little bit of delay on it. This is actually my favorite one right here. Legato lead right here. Very cool, especially if you drop the octave. Notice it doesn't really sound that loud, so let's. Super dope. What is this smooth legato? What is this? It's like a detuned one. So that's just to show you some sounds that are coming out of this thing. Here's the modular chirp one that I have here. Oh shoot, that redlined hard. So you have a little bit of motion there, you know. It's not quite perfect modular, but it's a pretty good emulation. And then the other session that I have some it's this pluck engine, but we have 16ths, so and this is the other version of it. Very low. Sorry if you can't hear it, but Very interesting. Wait, hold on. Bro. Hold on. Candy girl. Yeah, shake the lovey-dovey. Anyways, let me see this one. Okay, this one has a couple of plucks. This one's kind of cool. This is a band pass, like a little pluck. So it shows you that we do have a band pass filter on this. We also have a high pass filter, and then this is just dope. Hold on. But anyways, then one last thing to show you is it actually in a song. So we got 2 tracks that I'm starting to work on. Like, what do these sound like in terms of tracks? So here you have 2 sub-patch ones running with a couple of samples, 4 samples from Splice right here. 1, 2, 3, 4 drum samples, and 2 sub-patch synths. So even in pre-alpha, the synth is hitting only 9 to 10% latency with 2 instances and 6 tracks. I mean, the audio tracks aren't really making much of a difference, but. So that's that one, and then the other one is this one that we're doing. So there's one sub-patch instance with this MIDI's not even doing anything. There's nothing loaded on this MIDI, so technically we could just go like, get out of here. So it's 4 tracks, and it's here's the actual sub-patch. So, with all that said, I'm going to open up a new live set. It's a brand new live set, just brand new. It's in my plugins folder. It's under the Audioplay SAO holdings right here, but I have a favorite here. It's sub-patch 1. Drag it into MIDI. And here's the big reveal. Drum roll. I can't do it. Never mind. Here we go. Here it is. That's it. that is it right now. And anybody who's been following along with the live coding sessions, you guys probably are like, oh, it doesn't look much different. But like for anybody who hasn't seen it in a while, this is it. That's it. And I'm not gonna go into it. I'll probably go into it maybe next Audioplay Live, because we got to get the fuck out of here. But what I love about this is that it's me. Even though I had ChatGPT help me with coding, I challenged ChatGPT at every single turn and said, no, I don't like that. I don't want that. I don't care. You're not trying to drive this content for me. You're not trying to drive this situation. I'm the one making this. So this is ChatGPT doing the math and the UI and all this stuff, but I'm the filter. I'm the filter. And the UI is not where I want it to be, but this is good enough for a pre-release, you know, for a alpha kind of thing. Anyways, every single knob does something. It really does. It really does have, at any moment of any point of your signal path, you pull a knob and it does something to it. So that's what I really love about it. Either way, this is it. This is the synth. And this is going out to a few people to test it, and definitely gonna have a ton of UI work and more engine sculpting. So we're gonna make things a little bit more one of the things that I wanted to do was upon loading, I didn't want it to sound like Serum. I didn't want it to have that bang that Serum does when you hit a note. I said immediately when you come in, it's a pluck already. And I told the ChatGPT, the LLM, I told it, I was like, which is funny because it sounds almost exactly like Serum's, but it falls off. So I said the initial sound cannot be like bang. Don't have a decay or sustain that's gonna outlast it. Just have it drop off. Have the person jump in and be like, okay, we got a little bit of a piano here, so I want to play with it more. You get me? And then you could shape your envelope a bit. And do whatever you want with it, you know. You go legato with it. You could say fuck it, Polly, let's go Sonic, let's go Dad. Here's your cutoff. Bring your res up. Bring your sub. That's what I'm saying. Like it's strong, you know. It's like it shouldn't be this strong, and it reminds me so much of messing with analog synths. It's like, okay, everything does something and everything gets it stronger, you know, or weirder. And that's what I love about it. The balance of the knobs and the things that it can do is perfect. And I just need to contain it so that the volume doesn't spike and screw up your CPU. But that's the current state, man. We got all this stuff, and I'll explain a little bit more next time. Next week, next Audioplay Live, we'll go a little bit more deeper into the features of it, and the next week, you know, I'll probably be pushing it out to some people. But either way, have a good night. We're gonna end with Kalt Salat, which is cold salad in German. Minsky is one heck of a German dude, and he really likes to name his tracks in German, so I mean, I can't tell the guy not to. But anyways, have a good night. thank you if you watched tonight. I had a lot of philosophical ideas of production and everything like that, and I hope you enjoyed. If you are watching, if you did watch, thank you. I don't care if you like or subscribe, just enjoy my stuff. If you do, that's great, whatever. I love you too. But yeah, Cult Salad by Minsky. Thank you. Have a good night.
Incidentally, the damage to health is minimal, no matter what the American Narcotics Department may say.
Well, the damage to
health from addiction is minimal. the damage to health from addiction is minimal.
But it has done things to your soul.